Some feelings do not disappear when you push them down. They wait. They go quiet for a while. They stop interrupting your day. They stop rising to the surface in obvious ways. And because of that, you start to believe they are gone. But they are not gone. They are learning how to live in the dark. This is why some people look calm on the outside and feel haunted on the inside. They have learned how to function, how to smile, how to answer normally, how to keep the voice steady, how to act as if nothing inside them is asking to be felt. And yet, beneath that control, something keeps building. A sadness they cannot explain, a tension that never fully leaves, an anger that comes out sideways, a heaviness in the body, a strange emptiness after being around other people. It is exhausting, especially when you have spent years trying to be good, reasonable, mature, easy to deal with. You tell yourself there is no point in feeling so much, no point in being upset, no point in making things harder. So you swallow the reaction. You soften the truth. You move on too quickly. At first, this can feel like strength. It can feel like discipline, like emotional control, like growth. But often, it is something else. It is self-abandonment in a polished form. Because when a feeling rises in you, it is not only an emotion, it is information. It is your inner life trying to make contact. Pain is saying something mattered. Anger is saying something crossed a line. Grief is saying something was lost. Fear is saying something does not feel safe. Disappointment is saying hope was present. When you repress these signals again and again, you do not become free of them. You become separated from the part of yourself that sends them. That is where identity loss begins. Not only when you become who others needed, but when you become unreachable to yourself. This is what many people never realize. Repression does not kill a feeling, it traps it. And whatever is trapped inside the psyche does not stay still. It gathers force. It searches for another way out. So the sadness you never let yourself feel becomes numbness. The anger you were taught was unacceptable becomes irritation at the wrong people. The fear you kept under control becomes anxiety with no clear story attached to it. The grief you rushed past becomes a flatness that follows you for years. That is why repressed feelings often seem stronger later. Not because they changed into something more powerful, because they were denied their natural movement. A feeling that is felt can pass through. A feeling that is buried has to remain active. Somewhere in you, it keeps pressing against the walls. This is why people sometimes overreact to small things. It is rarely about the small thing. It is about the old emotion that was never allowed to have its full life. One careless comment, and suddenly there is disproportionate rage. One moment of distance, and suddenly there is panic. One minor rejection, and suddenly the whole nervous system collapses inward. The present moment touches the buried past, and all of it rises together. This is where the problem becomes deeper than emotion. It becomes structural. Because when you repress enough of yourself, you start building a personality around that repression. You become the calm one, the easy one, the understanding one, the one who does not complain, the one who does not need much, the one who can take it. But the cost is severe. You may be loved for your composure while privately disappearing inside it. You may be praised for your patience while resentment quietly grows underneath. You may become skilled at managing other people's comfort while losing contact with your own inner truth. Then one day you look at your life and something feels off. You cannot tell what you want. You cannot tell what you feel in real time. You hesitate before every honest response. Even your preferences become uncertain. Because when the inner signals are repeatedly silenced, the self does what anything does when ignored long enough. It stops speaking clearly. This is one of the reasons Carl Jung remains so important. He understood that whatever is pushed out of consciousness does not stop existing. It becomes shadow. Not evil, not some dramatic darkness, just the parts of you that had to go underground because they felt inconvenient, dangerous, shameful, or unacceptable. Your anger can go there. Your need can go there. Your grief, your jealousy, your tenderness, your hurt, your desire to say no, your desire to say this mattered. And the longer these parts stay buried, the less familiar you become to yourself. Because you are living from a partial self, a managed self, a survival self. The tragedy is that this false version of you can function very well. It can succeed. It can be admired. It can look emotionally evolved. But inwardly, it often feels deadened. Not because you have no feelings, because too many feelings were forced underground in the name of being acceptable. That buried life does not simply wait in silence. It leaks. It comes out in the body, in your fatigue, in your inability to relax, in the strange sadness that appears when the day gets quiet, in the impulse to withdraw from people even when you crave closeness, in the sudden coldness you cannot explain. Then you judge yourself for it. You tell yourself you should be over it. You tell yourself you are too sensitive. You tell yourself other people have it worse. But judgment does not dissolve repression. It deepens it. Because now the original feeling is still there, and shame has been added on top of it. This is how people become strangers to themselves. Not all at once, slowly, through years of overriding what is true. So what is the answer? It is not to become dramatic. It is not to let every feeling run your life. And it is not to confuse emotional honesty with emotional chaos. The answer is contact. To let a feeling become conscious before it becomes destructive. To notice what rises in you without immediately correcting it. To pause when your body tightens instead of rushing past it. To ask, what am I actually feeling right now? Not what is convenient, not what sounds mature, not what will keep everyone comfortable. What is true? That question begins to change everything. Because feelings lose some of their force when they no longer have to fight for recognition. Anger becomes clearer when it is listened to early. Grief becomes cleaner when it is allowed to move. Fear becomes more honest when it is named instead of disguised. Pain becomes less haunting when it is finally admitted. This is not weakness. It is integration. It is the opposite of repression. Instead of burying the feeling and building a personality around its absence, you allow it into consciousness and remain yourself in its presence. That is real strength. Not numbness, not perfection, not the ability to never be affected. Real strength is being able to feel something fully without disappearing because of it. To stay with your anger without becoming cool. To stay with your grief without collapsing into identity. To stay with your hurt without betraying yourself to make it stop. This is how repressed feelings stop ruling you. Not when you overpower them, when you stop abandoning them. And maybe that is the deeper truth. Your emotions become stronger when repressed because they are still trying to save your connection to yourself. They rise again and again because something in you does not want to be lost. Even now, beneath the numbness, beneath the control, beneath the years of adaptation, there is still a living self trying to speak. Not louder, just more honestly. And when you finally listen, something begins to soften. The anger becomes more human. The grief becomes more clean. The fear becomes more understandable. The emptiness begins to loosen. Because what was buried no longer has to scream from underground. It can come back into the light. And when that happens, you do not become less stable. You become more whole. Not because you stopped feeling, because you finally stopped leaving the part of you that does.